Ethan is a software architect. He earns $220,000 a year designing massive, scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies. He solves complex problems for a living. But for 8 months, Ethan couldn't solve a simple one. He needed to buy life insurance. He knew the stakes. If he died, his wife and daughter would have 14 months of savings before financial catastrophe. So he did what smart people do. He researched. He had a folder on his desktop labeled Insurance Research. It contained 14 PDF files, 3 spreadsheets comparing policy features, and 47 pages of handwritten notes on things like non-direct recognition dividend structures. Every time he sat down to decide, he felt a weight in his chest. He told himself, I just need to understand this one more part. Then I'll decide. Ethan had been treating the wrong problem. He thought he had an information problem. He actually had a filtering problem. Today, we're going to diagnose whether you are making the same mistake. Ethan isn't an anomaly. This is a specific pathology that attacks high performers. We call it the intelligence trap. In your professional life, more information usually equals better decisions. If you're building a bridge or a software platform, you need to know every variable. But when you apply that same heavy machinery to personal finance, the system crashes. Let's look at Jennifer. She's a physician. She spent 11 months researching the perfect asset allocation for her 401k. She read 4 books. She knew the expense ratios of 17 different funds. While she researched, her money sat in a default money market fund earning 0.3%. Inflation eroded $12,000 of her purchasing power while she tried to be optimal. Or look at Marcus, an attorney. He spent 6 months modeling mortgage refinance rates. He built spreadsheets comparing 15-year versus 30-year terms. He waited for the perfect rate. He never pulled the trigger. Rates rose. That delay will cost him $47,000 in interest over the life of his loan. Here is the diagnosis. You are not failing because you are lazy. You are failing because you are diligent without a filter. You are trying to process all the data because you believe that missing one piece of information might be catastrophic. But in a high-noise environment, more data doesn't give you clarity. It gives you noise. When you feel this paralysis, the industry offers you a false choice. 2 options, both bad. Option A is the SAM trap. This is where you just hand over the keys. You hire a professional and say, you handle it. But for a smart person, this feels wrong. You are used to understanding the systems you rely on. When an advisor hands you a 50-page plan full of jargon, you don't feel empowered. You feel dependent. You wonder if you're being sold a product rather than given a strategy. You get sophistication, but you lose understanding. Option B is the DIY trap. This is what Ethan did. You decide to figure it out yourself. You read the blogs, listen to the podcasts, watch the YouTube videos, but one expert says buy whole life. Another says whole life is a scam, buy term. One says real estate is king. Another says real estate is a trap. The more you learn, the more conflicting data you find. You get control, but you lose confidence. Both options fail because they assume the solution is more information. The SAM sells you their proprietary information. The DIY route hunts for public information. There is a third option. You don't need more information, you need a simplicity filter. The most successful decision makers don't try to know everything. They try to know the one thing that matters. They use a capability we call pattern extraction. They look at a complex decision, like insurance or investing or tax planning, and they extract the singular principle that governs it. Then they ruthlessly discard the 99% of information that doesn't serve that principle. If you don't do this, you get stuck in one of 3 ways. 1, the maximizer's trap. You're trying to find the absolute mathematical optimum, even if it costs you months of delay. 2, the competence performance. You research to feel productive, so you don't have to face the risk of choosing. 3, the fear of regret. You're terrified that if you choose option A, you'll find out later that option B was 1% better. The simplicity filter cures all 3. The simplicity filter methodology isn't a magic trick, it's a protocol. It asks 3 specific questions in a specific order. Today, I'm giving you question 1. This is the question that would have saved Ethan 8 months of his life. Question 1, what is the singular job this money needs to do? Ethan was trying to compare products, term versus whole life versus universal, before he had defined the job. He was reading reviews of hammers when he didn't even know he needed to hang a picture. If Ethan had asked question 1, the answer would have been, if I die, my family needs my income replaced for 20 years. That is the principle. Once you have the principle, the filter snaps into place. Does a whole life policy replace his income cheaply and reliably? No, it's an investment product bundled with insurance. Filter it out. Does a variable life policy replace his income reliably? No, it introduces market risk. Filter it out. Does a term life policy replace his income cheaply? Yes, it does exactly that job and nothing else. The moment he answered question 1, 47 pages of notes became irrelevant. He didn't need to understand dividend rates. He needed income replacement. Question 1 moves you from technical detail to core principle. If the answer is X, you need tool X. If the answer is Y, you need tool Y. The complexity collapses. But question 1 is just the entry point. It tells you what to look for. It doesn't tell you how to handle the complexity that's already in your life. The 14 bank accounts, the 6 old 401ks, the noise in your inbox. For that, you need the rest of the framework. I want you to calculate something. Think about a financial decision you've been putting off. Maybe it's an estate plan. Maybe it's consolidating your old retirement accounts. How many hours have you spent thinking about it, worrying about it, researching it? Now, multiply those hours by your hourly rate. That is your complexity premium. Ethan paid a massive premium. He paid with anxiety. He paid with time he could have spent with his daughter. Marcus paid $47,000 in actual cash because he couldn't filter. Right diagnosis leads to right solution, leads to rapid progress. Wrong diagnosis, thinking you need more info, leads to paralysis. So here is where we stand. You are not lazy. You are drowning in noise. The solution is not to swim harder. The solution is to get out of the pool. We've introduced the false choice, the SAM trap versus the DIY trap, and we've introduced question 1, what is the singular job this money needs to do? In the next episode, I'm going to give you the complete framework. I'll show you how to apply the filter to your existing mess, how to prune the noise, consolidate the accounts, and build a system that runs on 30 minutes a month. If you don't want to wait, the complete protocol, including the 12-week implementation plan, is in our book, The Simplicity Filter, available on Amazon. Stop treating the wrong problem. I'll see you in the next episode.